Hello everyone. Rita Stewart here with RitaStewart.com and Money Matters and Tea. I have a question for you. First, I want to thank you for joining me for First Friday Financials. And my question is, as it relates to your financial security, have you put in place a strategy where it's set up in rental mode or is it set up in ownership mode? Great question, right? Here's where I'm going. Many will say from time to time, oh, I have everything set up through my employer, right? So the question is it your intention to stay with that employer for the rest of your days? Is it possible that there could be a disconnect or there could be a separation with that employer, and therefore the financial strategy that you have put in place may not likely last, or may not be able to be carried through to fruition as you plan on the long term? Things are no longer the way they were, 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where you stayed with an employer until your retirement. The other thing is there are many of us who are entrepreneurs, who are independent business owners. So therefore, we need to make sure we have in place what we need to secure our financial future. I want to talk about life insurance specifically. Many people often say, I have a policy with my employer, or as a result of having a policy with the employer, it's a group program. Well, again, do you intend to die with that particular employer that you're with right now? Probably not. The most important thing that we can do for ourselves right now is to make sure that we secure our financial plan outside of any employer. As an independent business owner, you definitely want to do that as well. Even for couples, and I'm going to talk to women specifically for a second, you yourself want to make sure that you have a financial strategy in place where you can be independent if necessary. We as women tend to live longer than our male counterparts, so we need to keep that in mind. We need to be more strategic and plan long term as it relates for us to be able to manage to our finances independently. Now, in terms of do you rent or do you own? If you think of life insurance from a term perspective, that's where you would be considering you rent your life insurance. It's good for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So therefore, once that rental period is up, that term is up, the life insurance is no longer available to you. The policy becomes null and void, not unless you decide to renew at the current age and or health condition you may be in, which means the policy is going to cost you way more money at the end of that term. Now, a permanent life insurance policy is one that you own, and it's one that will be available to you for the life of the policy, right? Available to you, not just for the life of the policy, but for life, And it's one that you own, and it's one that you are accumulating funds in. So it's sort of like, just like you have equity that you accumulate in a home, that's what you do with a permanent life insurance policy. So life insurance, rent versus own, term versus permanent. You want to see about your options for permanent. Many of the companies that I work with, that I represent, actually have a clause in there where you have the opportunity, should you secure term insurance, you get to convert that over or upgrade to permanent insurance without any additional approvals that are necessary or underwriting that is necessary. There are other options that you can also consider in terms of your financial strategy as it relates to your long-term savings plans, your retirement plans. Sure, you have 401ks, sure you have TSP, sure you have 403bs, etc. But there's also an opportunity where you can establish your own individual pension plans and or tax-free retirement plans that are outside of your employer, right? Something that can be used to supplement what you may have in place with your employer, along with Social Security someday, should you receive those funds. So therefore, you would be diversifying in terms of preparing yourself for retirement. So I hope that I've intrigued you with some thoughts and some additional questions about renting your long-term financial strategy or your financial strategy versus purchasing, owning your financial strategy for the future. Reach out to me, RitaStewart.com. You can go there and set up a 30-minute consultation with me. There's no charge for the consult, and I'll be happy to have a conversation to figure out what your goals are and what solutions you can consider to put in place for retirement. Again, thank you again for joining me for First Friday Financials, and I will see you soon. Blessings.